Welcome to the London Outlook for Thursday, the 30th of November 2023. Starting off with the economic calendar, as you can see, for the London session, there isn't any high impact news. There's some CPI flash estimates for the Eurozone at around noon, my time, and then there's some red folder news that we'll consider when we do the New York Outlook. However, it's unemployment claims and PCE price index, and these allow us to trade or leave trades open during the news, or allow trades to be triggered by these news events. So we'll monitor these events, but they won't hinder our trading for today. Looking at the chart, starting with EURUSD on the daily, what you can see is yesterday sorry, just wanted to clean that up. What you can see is yesterday we had the bearish daily candle close as anticipated, given the previous 5 bullish consecutive days. It was more probable than not that the day would indeed close bearish. Then going on from there, what we can then anticipate for today is that we will continue to take out daily ERL continuation targets, being the structural liquidity, the fair value gap that was filled here, and then subsequently the swing high that was taken out. We can assume that the liquidity grab is completed by the fact that we've had this bearish closure, and thus any ERL continuation reversal trades are rolled out until that plan is revalidated. In terms of the 4-hour chart, what I do want to point out here is that we didn't get a body closure here, so this candle isn't validated as an OB, which then essentially means that the pullback phase change of character OB is resting right here. And then in terms of the 15-minute, actually maybe let's start on the hourly, because this leg essentially is the pro trend leg, and what you can see is in that pro trend leg we've got this nice pro trend demand chain. Again, here on the hourly we didn't body break, which it doesn't validate a change of character right here, but what we can see is the change remains valid, and we can draw a fib from the previous day low, or the day associated with the chain, which would have been Tuesday, when this 1-hour chain created, to the high or the extreme, which would then validate this area to trade from as an instant execution entry to long for today for EURUSD, and then obviously our targets would be there. However, our daily range doesn't cater for that. If we look at this, stop loss is 20 pips and target is 60, which is 80, and that's about 10 pips more than 10 pips more than the available range for EURUSD. So that's something to consider. In terms of the lower time frames, on this particular pair, like I said, we're only longing. However, you can see we've got this pro trend leg, and then obviously on the 15-minute supply to control. But in order to revalidate demand back in control, we need primary leg OB support, and everything over here has been efficiently mitigated. You can see we body broke below this level, or this level rather. So what we're waiting for now is for price to come into this primary leg OB support to then help us validate a new demand control to create that secondary leg. In terms of using the range, there isn't really validation for using the range, because there's no window of imbalance within this. As you can see, it's all efficiently mitigated right here. So for this morning, or for the rest of the day in fact, our primary options are to wait for the primary leg OB to be tapped, and then from then on we can look for the new low of the day that will also take out the Asia range, and then build our order flow from that point onwards to target the extremes. I will set this order on. I think it's a fairly valid order, and if the longs are going to play out, it's likely going to be from this area. In terms of GBPUSD, starting off with the daily, what we can see, sorry, let me just rein in these comments. Just okay, so on GBPUSD, starting with the daily, what you can see is yesterday we didn't get the bearish candle closure. If we look closely, so again today we can expect some ERL reversals based on the fact that this fair value caps and structural liquidity was taken. However, at the same time we are in an ERL continuation scenario, which does validates us to both long and short for the day. In terms of the 4 hour, what we can see is we had this change of character pullback phase OB that was validated because of these body closures above this high. However, we didn't have a body break here to validate that we are in the pullback phase and indicate the end of the continuation momentum phase. So our idea for GBPUSD for the day, or our bias rather, is for both directions. In terms of the lower time frames, it's quite messy because we've got this pro-trend leg, we've got the ERL reversal primary leg that's right here, and then we've got a primary leg that's built on the pro-trend leg. In terms of who was last in control, supply was last in control. We've subsequently had the change of character which validated this primary leg. In terms of where we are right now, there isn't anything to support demand order flow shifts here, because what you can see is we had body breaks below this potential primary leg OB to support a new order flow shift. So our next primary leg OB support would be here. So that's something we need to wait for. If we go lower on the 5 minute, in terms of looking for long opportunities, what you can see is again that same area we saw in the 15 minute has been body broken. So what I will do is I'll just mark out where there is primary leg support. That's in terms of trying to get a long idea going. In terms of trying to get a short idea to make sense, we did have this interaction with the primary leg OB for this ERL reversal primary leg. And then this, I'm going to remove this from the 15 minute. In terms of a 15-minute chart, we've got this. And then from there we can't, I guess we can anticipate for supply to potentially take control from here. This is getting quite messy. EU is far simpler, however simple isn't always the best, so it's just to monitor if supply takes control. Supply takes control. Okay, but yeah, I guess this situation is similar, right? Actually, before I do somewhat of a summary, on the 5 minute you can see we had the 5 minute change of character. We had the 5 minute change of character right here, and then obviously on the 5 minute we've got this level that potentially hold this, which you then again validate that supply is in control once we come down. In terms of trying to validate a long idea, we need price to come to the primary leg OB support and then validate an order flow shift either on the 5 or 15 minute to play any long ideas, because at present we don't really have support for that. From a higher time frame perspective, there isn't really any clean chains in and around this area, which would suggest, you know, where the high of the day or low of the day is most likely to form. So given that aspect, I don't intend to take any instant executions on GBPUSD, and I'll just wait to see how the highs and lows of the day forms. It will require significant paying attention to because of the complexity with the numerous primary legs that have formed. But yeah, whatever pair between EU and GU presents first, I'll likely take that trade. And if EU comes up first, then you know it's probably better because it's easier to manage. There's less complexity. However, the day is long, so we'll monitor it accordingly and go from there. Other than that, have a good session, and then we'll chat again for the London session. For the New York outlook.